pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Wyatt. Here. Engel. Here. Brewster is absent. Funds. Present. And Stabell is absent for the time being.
Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Or second, whichever.
Oh,
Hey, one way on. Can't get money, you don't want to clean up.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Citizens request oral presentations. Leon, you want to address us?
Here I am again.
Yes, you are.
Leon Nelson, 4441 Ranchero. Two items tonight to talk about. Old business, both of them. The safety speeding problem continues on Ranchero. It seems to be worse, the speeding, by construction trucks now, but I don't know how in the world you'd control it. Today, a work day, no construction trucks at all. It just is a matter of what they're doing and what the schedule is. It seems like it's worse when they're hauling rock, hauling dirt, doing concrete work, maybe sodding. Maybe it was the rain today and a small crews, I don't know. But see, I'm just afraid we're headed for a fatality up there.
Is there a particular brand of truck that's going through there quickly that maybe we could address it directly with that company that you noticed?
I think what I
Like
noticed is
PCI or Royal Turf or-
most of these guys are getting the job done. They're in a hurry. They're
Sure.
moving.
Right.
They're hauling dirt and rock and whatever else. So no, I don't think so.
No.
I couldn't identify any one offender any more than another.
Okay.
I came down Butterfield and out in Ranchero at 5:15 today. And I came over the hill by Greg Hossman's.
Mhm.
Went down through the valley, started up the other hill, and I met a gal in a red blazer. I was doing 30. She had to be doing 55 or 60. I mean, she was just hauling, so it isn't necessarily trucks.
No, not
I
all.
agree, we've got a speed
It
issue.
isn't. And they're, even with those old frost boils full of loose rock in front of our house, I don't know how they keep their equipment on those trailers, because they hit them at 50 mile an hour and it's just banging noise, but they go on through.
Is it heavier at 8 a.m.? What I want to do is talk to the police department and have them patrol a little bit more at the.
I've been trying to watch and think of a time that they can get out there, and it's just so erratic.
So there's, unfortunately,
Yeah.
people speed everywhere too, it's
Well,
not
yeah.
just yours.
And that kind of gets me, I guess, to the only answer I see, and that is cut off the traffic. Let's get those cars off the road. A lot of them are through cars going from 63 to 58. Still continues with semi trucks rolling 50 mile an hour through there. The other evening, the neighbors up on the top of the hill, the new neighbors, one of them, I guess, does more socializing than the rest of us. And both sides of the road were lined with cars, barely room for one car to get through. Oh, if a kid had stepped out from between those cars or with a bicycle. And even if we're parking one side, it's still single lane because the road's so narrow. Just dangerous situation that we need to address. Maybe we should have a public hearing on that, on shutting off Ranchero. Think about it.
Okay.
Second is erosion off of Twin Oaks. You know, I think it was the 22nd of July, we passed a ordinance about limiting erosion, wind, water, ice. I came down Ranchero off of 63 a week ago Tuesday, just after that heavy 1 inch of rain in the morning. That little stream that enters right under the bridge on Ranchero was running just thick mud. It was too wet to plant potatoes, but it was thick enough. Just erosion off of Twin Oaks, terrible. And if you go up there and look, you can see where they had black dirt. There's rivulets have run down the steep slopes and taken the dirt away. The bottom of the drainage between where the rows of houses will be, The black dirt is gone, down to bare clay. There's essentially no effective erosion barriers there anymore.
Don't have
I
any
called
straw
Brent
lines.
Dahlstrom the other day, we had a conversation, because he had said that when possible, they would put some ground cover up there to control wind erosion. And I was pointing out, it's about time to do that. This is the time of year you can plant ryegrass and get some good out of it. But Brent said, we really don't plan to do that now, because we're working on the 2 north streets, and as long as we're working, we're not gonna plant it. We're gonna wait till we're done. And that means we'll have no wind erosion this winter again, no wind erosion protection this winter again. It's gonna be bad this winter, it's be worse than it has been. We really need to somehow maybe bring a little pressure to bear. We got this unenforceable ordinance, but
Well, the ordinance is enforceable. Once groundwork is all done, then there's a requirement of 70% coverage as far as ground cover.
but all done is the problem.
Unless we're able to define it by addition. And that's the
Yeah.
one thing I want to look into, Leon,
Yeah.
and see if it can be enforced by, because we have a first edition, we're gonna have a second, we're gonna have a
Yeah.
third edition. So if we have the ability to enforce ground cover at that, then I'll take a look at that.
But the first street in, I don't remember the name of it, but they don't plan to complete it this time, probably not even put in the storm sewer or the paving. That could be seeded, because they aren't gonna work with that until at least spring. That'd help tremendously. But
The other thing is.
during the summer, we don't get much north wind, but when the winter, we get the strong north winds. We're gonna pray for a lot of snow, I guess, and get it buried, and hope it stays buried. Yeah, don't say that. Anyhow, we still have 2 problems continuing.
Thanks, Lionel. Committee reports, Scott's not here.
Let me find it and I'll.
Hey,
I've got it here, I can do it if you want me to, Chrissy.
Go for it.
Public Works, Water Sewer, Town Property met on Wednesday, August 14th, 7 a.m. Major items, Blackhawk County, as you know, is resurfacing Waters Road, and we approved doing city portions, 8,525, and I think that's already done out there. Auto flusher in the northern tier, total cost 28,000, approved going ahead with that, but that will come to council later.
Yeah,
when
once we
the
get
bids
the,
in.
once we get the
Okay.
bids and stuff in.
Sewer adjustment for 424 Primrose, which was on our consent agenda. And then a utility bill for 112 Cedar. They came up with a recommendation to give that property owner ability to waive the penalties that we've been assessing, provided it was paid within 60 days. Has it been paid yet, Chrissy, do you know?
No, and it's 30 days, but no, it
30
hasn't been
days.
paid. I think they've got.
So that was pretty much essentially it. Questions? Public hearings. I'll open the first public hearing, which is to gather public input regarding the request of David Wiedenbacher to rezone approximately 3 acres at 5133 South Hudson Road from A1 suburban agriculture to R6 large lot residential district, and subdividing the lot into 2 1.5 acre lots. Do you have anybody that wishes to speak on that one?
I'm Kyle Helen Engineering. I'm the one who submitted the plat survey before you. I can just kind of give you a short, brief summary of it. It's basically just splitting the property in half. In the process of meeting the zoning requirements, we have to have 1.5 acres for each parcel, which we do have. The existing driveway will be utilized for both parcels, the front and rear parcel. There will be an easement on the north side. The easement's 20 feet wide. That doesn't necessarily mean that the 20 feet wide will be gravelled. You can gravel 10 to 12 feet for minimum for the amount of traffic that's going to see. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward split. I don't know if you have any technical questions that I can answer. Otherwise, Dave Wiedenbacher, the buyer and developer, is here, and then also Dave Red is here. He's the seller. Thank you.
Anything else, any you gentlemen want to speak to it?
We just intend to split the property. I'm David Wiedenbacher. My intent was to split the property and, have a new house built in the backside and, repair the house up front and, I just wanna get it approved so I can get that done.
What you've also got before you is a pack that John Venus has given to us. His concern that he had raised at planning and zoning was relative predominantly, as I recall, and John, you can speak to it, is concern about the fence, and that if the fence is removed, that according to the survey is inside of this 3 acres, that it would cause some erosion issues impacting some of his terraces. John also gave us a copy that I have not had the opportunity to look through in detail, of course, none other of his attorneys, our attorney, relative to a property dispute on the other side of Hudson Road. Not directly related, but just as an example relative to where property was lined up and not lined up. From our perspective, it appears to be out of our control relative to this request as far as the rezoning of 3 acres. John, do you want to speak to it?
Well, it's just a copy of appeals court, you know, where the one party was farming it for, I suppose 20 years. And, the other party bought it, and he found out that he'd been paying property taxes on it. And, he appealed it to the, Iowa appeals court, and they found the term, ghost, it's on the piece of paper, ghost.
And obviously, from our perspective as the council, from the city, that's a civil action between parties.
Yeah, but it's similar
Mhm.
property line. What do they call it, a quiet title, because the fence was there, their stakes were there for like 20 years, 25 years. And US, Iowa Court of Appeals affirmed the guy that, the Schmidt guy who was farming it. And Bordeaux was the guy that owned the property, so he lost. Quiet title. So what I'm concerned about is moving the fence.
Now, what Mr. Helm gave us on behalf of Mr. Redenius is the fact that, that single page, is that there's a statement that he installed the fence inside the boundary lines as a convenient fence only, not as a boundary fence. Thus allowing himself to maintain both sides of the fence without infringing onto the adjoining property. So they're not alleging in this that
The fence is any
that
kind of marker.
the fence is other than simply a fence out of convenience. So I would say we got both of those documents on record, has been provided to us as part of the public hearing. Anything else?
I would like to note the property was surveyed back in 1976 prior to David getting ownership of it, and I did find the monuments when I surveyed it just a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And they fit within reason of the government corners.
Okay. John, you had another comment?
Well, the property was surveyed, because I've been, you know, seeing the markers there all the time.
Okay.
And, you know, I'm just concerned about the fence.
Okay.
I don't care what they, you know, what goes on with it. It's less than 3 acres the way it is sitting now, and,
If the fence was a boundary line, is what you're
Yes.
saying? Okay.
and a quiet easement, that's what I'm not addressing.
Okay.
But I haven't had a problem with it building a house or anything like that.
Any other comments, public, relative to this public hearing? Do we have anything right other than these 2 documents, Chrissy?
No.
Okay, close the public hearing. Open second public hearing to gather public input regarding the request of Eco Development to approve the amendment to the Twin Oaks preliminary plat, and that is taking the duplex lots and split them into single families. Any written comments on that one, Chrissy? Any verbal comments on it?
I would comment briefly on that again. I think it's a good idea to do that.
Okay.
If they're gonna build our single-family units, let's get it zoned R1, so somebody doesn't come in buy 3 or 4 adjoining lots and put up a big apartment building, which they could because it's R3. So
Except
let's,
they wouldn't have they would be in violation of setbacks, so they'd have to come through for Board of Adjustments or planning and zoning approvals.
presumably
even as
that
R3.
can help control it, but R1's the thing to do, that's what it's gonna be, so let's rezone it.
Jim, you said something?
I was just wanted to know if there was if you had a concept of valuation differences from one to the other, if that made a big difference.
What they're looking at is building houses that would market between a 175 and a 225 price range, which is significantly different than the other houses that are currently having built out there. So we look at it as an attainable market rate, so.
I guess there was one other concern I had there, and that is, has anybody looked at the deed of dedication to see if that needs to be rewritten for these smaller lots? And there's some other things that while we're going through the deed of dedication might be looked at, and there's some real ambiguity with regard to where
far as,
underground propane tanks
propane.
need to be. It's not clear.
Yeah, we've advised that because
Yeah.
there'll be a deed of dedication, there will be a deed of dedication as part of the final plotting on that, because they're changing the minimum size down to, I think, 1,200 square feet compared to what they had of a 13 or so. And then we're gonna look at that as far as
Yeah.
clearly defining the lines.
That would require it, wouldn't it? Good.
John?
I just wanna make sure that the surveyor here, somebody professionally surveyed that. I was living in Philadelphia at the time, somebody did it, there's a metal pole up on the south side by the highway. There's a pole, he's got his little flag on it, that's been there for years. And then the 2 fence posts in the back, and there was a metal post halfway down, so. It must be a record someplace.
Yeah, that was performed by you from a surveying perspective?
This was performed by my father in 1976. At that time, plats of survey weren't required to be recorded. It was kind of an optional thing. Actually, not up until 2000 was it required by state law that any plat of survey, any surveying completed had to have a plat of survey, had to be recorded in the courthouse.
So you're confident of your layout in this? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any other thing relative to twin oaks? I'll close that public hearing. Okay, general government. Hudson City Council maintains the right to waive the first and second readings of the ordinances presented and may pass the third and final reading of the same ordinance within the same council meeting. Item A, discussion action to approve the first reading of ordinance 819, an ordinance amending section 166.02 of the zoning ordinance of the city of Hudson, Iowa, as amended by removing certain real estate from the A1 suburban agricultural district to R6 single-family residential district. And you've heard the public comments. You also had the packet from planning and zoning.
I'm gonna move that we pass the first reading.
Okay,
Second.
we have a second. Any further discussion?
Well, I just suggest then that we run this by Heather again and
Absolutely.
get, get her opinion on it too with the new
Information. That's why I would not recommend doing anything other than first
No,
reading
I
tonight.
agree.
I agree, totally agree.
So we have time to.
Further discussion? Roll call.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Engel, aye, Buns.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. So this is the first reading that's been passed. We'll pass this on to our attorney, Heather. You guys hopefully can maybe have some more fruitful discussions in the meantime and maybe report back to us at the next council meeting when we'll be on for the second reading, okay? And you're welcome to leave at any time.
When would that council meeting be? Sorry to
That
interrupt.
will be
Be the
September
9th.
9th.
September.
Okay,
Great.
First,
Thank you.
second and fourth Mondays unless we do something otherwise.
Great.
And 6 o'clock again.
Well, I need to be here at the second.
No requirement, because there won't be a public hearing, it'll be discussion amongst the council and any other information that happens to have been brought to our attention that might be relevant, but no requirement for anybody to be here for it. And then the third reading
Well,
of it,
we'd love to have you if you'd like to.
yeah,
Well, it's kind of hard for me. So, if I'm not here, if I need to be here, I'll be here.
no requirement to it, but
I don't wanna, have other circumstances here besides this.
Sounds
all
good.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item B, discussion action to approve resolution 2510, resolution approving the revised preliminary plat for Twin Oaks Edition.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Funds,
Aye.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Engel.
Aye.
3-0. Thank you. Item C, discussion action to approve resolution 2511, a resolution for approval to offer employment and set wage for police chief position for the city of Hudson, Iowa, Daniel Banks.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
I'm excited for him to get on board.
Daniel Banks was a coal mine, was he an owner?
Tripola.
He was at one time.
Oh,
and
I for
then-
Oh,
6
yeah.
years.
I know.
Yeah.
John?
Just a side comment, I'm just sitting here thinking, he wanted to know if that was professionally surveyed, then he comes back and says his father did it. And so his father did the survey, and then he's questioning whether somebody professionally originally surveyed that ground,
Yeah.
okay? Then he comes back and says his father did it, but they didn't keep any records.
Oh, for the original survey.
Yeah, it's a little short.
Got the current one. Kate, I know you had some questions, we've had discussions as far as the process. What we're gonna look at as a personnel committee is looking at the entire hiring practice
Okay.
on whether or not, for full-time, whether we have a standard operating as far as advertising at length, or whether we have an internal. And then what I wanna do is have, anytime we have a full-time opening, is to have that confirmed by personnel committee, and then confirmed by council, so everybody at council at large knows exactly what we're gonna do.
Mhm.
Okay. Roll call,
Wyatt,
Aye.
Funds,
Aye.
Engel.
Aye.
3-0. Item D, discussion action to approve resolution 2512, a resolution approving the transfer of funds, and this is the normal type of standard monthly.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Roll call.
Engel.
Aye.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Funds.
Aye.
3-0. Item E, and let me know if I get out of order here, guys.
So far, so good.
Okay, discussion action to approve resolution 2513, a resolution setting a public hearing to amend section 5.08, conflict of interest of the City of Hudson Code of Ordinances. Public hearing be set for September 9th of 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Engel.
Aye.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Funds.
Aye.
3-0. Item F, discussion action to approve resolution 2514, resolution setting a public hearing to amend title or section 1.0 or 102.058 solid waste control definitions of the City of Hudson Code of Ordinances. Public hearing is set again for September 9th of 2019.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion, roll call.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Funds,
Aye.
Engel.
I moved that, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
3-0, I was too fast on her.
Yep.
Item G, discussion action to approve resolution 2515, a resolution setting a public hearing to amend section 7.05, operating budget preparation of the City of Hudson Code of Ordinance. Again, public hearing for September 9th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion,
No.
roll call.
Engel.
Aye.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Funds.
Aye.
3-0.
You guys are so cheery.
Item I, discussion action to approve resolution 2517, a resolution approving the underwriting engagement.
1-6.
1-6.
2516.
1-6.
Oh, I did jump ahead.
Yeah.
See, we're pretty shy
We
about that,
got
let you
you.
know.
We got you.
Crossed off the wrong one. I was just testing you.
Yeah.
Item H, discussion action to approve resolution 2516, a resolution setting the date for a public hearing on a proposal to enter into a general obligation refunding loan agreement and to borrow money thereunder.
You're,
Is that the one that we had from last?
No, this is the one
Oh,
to refund.
we have a general fund that is callable at this point. And what this whole thing wraps into between the multiple resolutions that will be the public hearings is that we'll be able to refund it at a lower interest rate to save us over the remaining 10 years of the bond about $170,000.
we like saving.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
I'm so moving that we set this public hearing.
But it'll be on the 9th, I didn't put
You
that
already
in,
moved?
sorry.
Right?
Yep,
Brenda moved, I
I'll
seconded.
load up the 9th.
Yes, we are.
I voted.
Roll call.
Engel.
Aye.
Wyatt.
Aye.
Funds.
Aye.
3-0.
Wow.
Now, are we on I now?
You're
Yes,
on
we
aye
are.
now.
Yes.
Discussion action to approve resolution 2517, resolution approving the underwriting engagement letter from D.A. Davidson regarding the issuance of $3 million of general obligation refunding bond.
Moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Engel,
Aye.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Buns.
Aye.
3-0. Discussion action to approve resolution 2518, a resolution to appoint Hudson Municipal Electric Board members. This would be Gary Downey and Reed Braden.
Woohoo, moved.
Second.
Third.
Discussion.
No.
Roll call.
Engel,
Aye.
Buns.
Aye.
Wyatt.
Aye.
3-0.
Thank you to Gary
Thanks,
and
Gary.
Reed
Yes,
for
Thank you.
stepping into,
say now.
stepping into a
Hey,
potential not so fun agreement, so.
I'm expecting big things from you, young man.
There we go, expectations.
Informational items, there's 5 of them in there to note. Reminder items, regular scheduled meetings held at council chambers except for electric board and library board. Public Works meeting, September 11th at 7 a.m. Mayor's Task Force, currently scheduled September 17th at 5 p.m., but that will probably be canceled because I'll be away for about 10 days.
Okay.
Public Safety Committee meeting, September 26th at 4 p.m. Personnel Admin Finance Committee, September 23rd at 4:45 p.m. I should be back for that in the council meeting. Next council meeting is Monday, September 9th at 6 p.m. and Monday, September 23rd at 6 p.m.
We move to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion?
Third.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Adjourn.
I'm gonna start saying aye like a pirate.